Are you serious? Are you serious, guys? We have breaking news that is heartbreaking, really. Get a cup of coffee, everybody. Calm down. Calm down. But my heart is broken over a very serious situation, and the propaganda spinning has already begun right out of the blocks. And so, what happened in Gaza today, 104 Palestinians are dead. Um, Somewhere between 290 and 760, it depends which publication you want to read, are injured. And they're blaming Israel. But what really happened? Behind me is actual videotape from satellite view of what really happened. And I'm going to share this with you in a moment. Let me just say real quick, go to www.mypillow.com/Paul. Always use the promo code Paul. That's www.mypillow.com/Paul. Use the promo code Paul. Mike Lindell, good friend of our ministry, I mean, really, who's preaching the gospel, who's sharing the truth, and who's been persecuted for it. He's put together a special for you right now, end of the month special for all the Paul Begley prophecy viewers, everybody out there who watches this YouTube channel. Matter of fact, it is an incredible deal. Just go to www.mypillow.com/Paul. Use the promo code Paul. But the Giza premium pillows, which were $69, are now today $24.77 if you use that promo code Paul. But you got to go to www.mypillow.com/Paul and then use the promo code Paul. The pillow, the bed sheet set, incredible. Instead of $79.98, it's $24.98. If you go to www.mypillow.com/Paul, use the promo code Paul. The MyPillow down comforters. This comforter is amazing. It's normally $500, $499. But today, if you're a Paul Begley prophecy follower, today you can get it for $199. Guys, and it goes on and on. The slippers, the night robes, the shoes, the blankets, the pillows, the Giza sheets, everything. You won't believe the deal that he has for you today. So do it now. Go to www.mypillow.com/Paul. Use the promo code Paul and find out. You won't believe the amount of great deals he has for us today. So do that and be glad you did it. And really good time to get some of this spring cleanings coming. Fresh sheets and fresh comforters and that kind of stuff. Check it out. Towels for your bathroom, okay? Towel sets, everything. Let me tell you what's going on now. This is a very, 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 very bad tragedy that we're talking about here. It really, really is. And, tonight Mike from around the world is going to be with us. Mike is the one that said they're going to push to disarm Israel. There's going to be a push, Paul, to disarm. Now, there's been intense negotiations going on to try to force Israel into a ceasefire without giving all the hostages, without setting free the hostages. And Israel's saying, there ain't no way. We're not going to do a 6-week ceasefire and not get all the hostages. So the propaganda situation is spinning out of control. So the first thing it's been reported, now and I've read it everywhere, is that they're saying that the Israeli soldiers fired on a crowd of Palestinians who were standing in line at a food truck to get food as these trucks are coming in, bringing in food and medical supplies. That Israel slaughtered 104 Palestinian people and wounded somewhere between 290 and 750 others in a massacre. I'm going to tell you something. I've been to Israel 11 times. I have met with Israeli soldiers. I know Israeli soldiers. They love their nation. They're trying to protect their country, but they are not murderers. They do not do massacring. This is not in their DNA. This is not what they're being accused of. I knew wasn't right. I just knew it. And, here you see The Guardian, and there's Al Jazeera, and there's this one over here, and here's this, and they're all piling on. And they even as President Joe Biden was walking to get on Marine One to take him to get on Air Force One because he's going to the border, he was asked questions. What's happened? Do you hear what's happened? They just massacred these people. And Biden said, is that going to hurt the negotiations? And he said, look, there's two different stories here. But yes, you can about believe that the negotiations is going to end up, we're not going to go any further now. This has pretty well ruined it for this weekend to try to get a deal. But he said, but I'm investigating it. Let me look into this, okay? I knew this wasn't right. I knew it wasn't right. Well, I just found, and doing some research, I found actual videotape that was released by the IDF just moments ago that shows that there was no shooting at all, but there were thousands and thousands, and you can see it behind me, thousands of people rushing these trucks. They literally swarmed the trucks, overtook the trucks that were having the food. Tens of thousands of people literally plowing in and jumping and surrounding, and the truck drivers were absolutely scared for their lives, and they started gunning it to get out of there, and they hit and ran over people, and you see it in the footage. It's unbelievable. Now, let me read to you what's been said so far. The White House is investigating the truck incident. The White House is looking into the reports of Israelis. They said we're being accused of firing on the Palestinians who were just standing in line waiting for aid near Gaza City, and describing this as a serious incident. We mourn the loss of innocent life, and we recognize the dire humanitarian situation in Gaza, says the White House, where innocent Palestinians are just trying to feed their families, said National Security Council spokesman. This underscores the importance of expanding and sustaining the flow of humanitarian assistance in Gaza, including through a potential temporary ceasefire. Now, that's the White House first initial response. But then we have this report. Conflicting reports have been emerging over the reported deadly incident during the aid distribution west of Gaza City this morning. Civilians were gathering to try to get food and medicine from the aid trucks. From there, reports began to clash. Here is everything that has been said so far. Gaza's health ministry said that the Hamas-run ministry claims that 104 people were killed by Israeli gunfire while waiting in line for aid at the Nablus roundabout. Now, the Palestinian president said, and that's Mahmoud Abbas, head of the Palestinian Authority based in the West Bank, and he said this has been an ugly massacre conducted by the Israeli occupation army. That's what Mahmoud Abbas says. The medical facilities are saying some in the area are reporting receiving bodies and severely wounded people with gunshots in the upper part of their bodies. The hospital chiefs are reporting. The head of Kamal Adwan Hospital in Gaza City, his name is Hassam Abu Safa, said it had received 10 bodies and dozens of injured patients. The head of the hospital's ambulance service, Fars Afana, told the Associated Press that the medics arriving at the scene found dozens or hundreds lying on the ground. Now, casualty speaks. A man being treated for a gunshot wound at the Shifa Hospital told the Associated Press that he was shot in the leg by the IDF after they opened fire on the crowd. The IDF is saying this. The Israeli Defense Forces said Gazan residents were injured as a result of the pushing and the trampling as they swarmed the trucks and surrounded the trucks and began looting the trucks. Okay. Then an Israeli government spokesman just said that the aid truck drivers, fear for their life, plowed into the crowd, killing tens of people, running them over. Israeli released the footage, and they shows the crowds literally swarming, guys. You won't believe it. These trucks in which one truck moved forward slightly while people were either side of it before stopping again, and then you see them go forward again and stop, and then all of a sudden you see these trucks just getting out of there. And they are, there's no doubt, they're running, you can see it, they're running people over. And I've watched this video now 50 times. I mean, these trucks, when they would pull in, would be surrounded by 1,000 people in just a few moments. And then these drivers were literally overwhelmed. And these people were on top of the trucks. They were all over the trucks. They were pushing, shoving, they're running each other over, trampling people. I can see it in the video. And then these trucks just start pulling out. They just start going because the truck drivers are literally fearful for their own lives. And when they plow forward, and I'm watching it right now, they're running over people. Now, I cannot show you the video because I don't have permission to, but what I am going to do is give you the link. Let me grab the link right now because I want you to watch it. And this is the fog of war, guys. This is the fog of war. Okay. So Israel released. Let me go. Give me 1 second. Let me do this right now. Whoops, I'm sorry. So let me put this in the YouTube chat room right now. Here is the link. It's newssky.com, story Gaza. Right there it is. Click on that link. Click on that link, and that will take you. And you can watch the video yourself. So I'm doing the right thing here. I'm going to do fair and balanced reporting like really should be done. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that innocent civilians don't get shot and killed or get bombed and get killed through some of the bombing. We know that the Palestinians and Hamas uses people as human shields. We already know that. We've seen that a million times. This is an unfortunate situation where trucks pull in to an area full of food, and these are semi-trucks. They pull in full of food and medical supplies. But when you have this many people, I'm going to put that link in there for you again. When you have this many people swarming, when you have thousands of people swarming on just a few trucks, and these people are they are fighting each other to get to the food. They're trampling on one another to get to the food. And the truck drivers know. These truck drivers are not Palestinians. They're Egyptians for the most part, or they're from Europe. They've been hired to drive the trucks into Gaza. These are contractors, usually from other nations, who drive in there to bring the food. They're driving into a war zone. So obviously you got to pay these guys. These guys realize, that they don't have it. Look, their life is pretty well, they're going to die at this point. They're so overswamped that they don't have a chance. And so they realize it. They stop. They get swarmed. They try to ease out when you watch the video, and then finally they start moving a little faster, and that then you can see where they're plowing and over top of the people. And so Israel is saying, guys, don't believe this initial reports. We did not show up where people were getting food, stand in line, and start gunning down people. Israel is not going to do that. I know these soldiers. I've met them. I know some of them personally. Trust me. This is not the story. And so I'm glad Israel has released this videotapes. I'm so glad they are. That they've released the videotapes. It's silent video because it's from a satellite. And you go down the page a little bit, you'll see I read to you what all the different statements are. And this was just released. And you could see from the satellite these massive mobs around these trucks. And it looks like black, and then they zero in, and you could see the people just swarming the trucks. The trucks are sitting there at first. But when these trucks are so overwhelmed that they start moving, and they start moving, and they start pushing, because these truck drivers, and the truck drivers don't want to run people over. I'm not even accusing them. I'm just saying, this is reminiscent to what we saw when the Biden administration was trying to fly planes out of Afghanistan, and people were swarming the planes and falling off of them. This was very reminiscent of that. And so I think that, we've got to do, okay, now we have another report. The Israeli government spokesman has just claimed that the tragedy was caused by truck drivers. The Israeli government spokesman has described Palestinian deaths during the aid distribution near Gaza City today. It is a tragedy, says the Israeli government. And they claim that the drivers of the aid trucks are to blame, a claim that may conflict with other various reports. And they, yeah, it definitely conflicts with reports of saying they were just gunning down people. At some point, the trucks were overwhelmed, and the people driving the trucks, which were Gaza civilian drivers, plowed into the crowds of people, ultimately killing. The understanding is tens of people. Well, we know 104 died, so tens of people would be accurate, according to reports. It's obvious that the tragedy, but we're not sure of the specifics quite yet. The account is at odds with reports from the Palestinians who said that the people that were injured in the incident were shot. Well, now, they could have been shot by Hamas themselves. And then Hamas does this. They'll shoot people and then film it and say that it was done by the Israelis. I mean, we have found that numerous times. So this is what happens in the fog of war. These people are hungry. They're in a war. The blockades are being used by Israel as part of the warfare to squeeze the Hamas to surrender. And these truck drivers just have no choice. So I'm glad some people have gotten the link and have went over there, and you can see it for yourself. The drivers really had no choice. If they didn't drive through and get out of there, they aren't going to make it. There's just, they're not going to make it, and they know it. If you remember the riots in L.A. during the Rodney King beatings, and you remember there was a truck driver who actually drove accidentally, got into the wrong area. He didn't realize where he was at exactly, or maybe he was supposed to make a delivery in that area. And it was just about the time that the verdict came out, and the police officers who beat Rodney King mercilessly on video, we all seen it, were all found acquitted. We're all acquitted. And the city of Los Angeles erupted in one of the incredible riots that you'll ever see. And you can understand the passion. And so this truck driver pulls in there. His name was Reginald Denny. And he's a white guy pulling into an area where the entire city is gone up in madness. And there's so many of them, they swarm his truck to where he can't get away. And they eventually break into the windows and they pull him out, and then he's beaten to death. These truck drivers are basically in the same situation. They're in among thousands of hungry people, and these people have got to get something out of this. And they know if there's no orderly standing in line waiting for handouts. It's madness. It's madness. It's what the Bible said would happen among, unfortunately, in the Middle East during times like this. And so we will be talking to Mike around the world. It's a very sad situation. I'm promising you that. It's a very sad situation. And but you can see it for yourself. I'll put the link one more time here in the description. I'm putting it in the chat room, and I will put it in the description in the comments. I'll put it in the comments section after I'm get off the air here, so that those of you who are watching this on watching the archives of this video will be able to find it and click on that link and go there and watch the video for yourself. Watch what you see. You'll see these trucks overwhelmed, and then after a few moments, the truck drivers realize they got to get out of there, and then they start to move, and then they have to keep moving, and then people are running in front of them, and this is how and a lot of people are being trampled, and it's just a sad situation, guys. A sad situation. I'll be back with more current world events. I mean, this is, it's sad. Saturday was silent, and surely it was through. Since when has impossible ever stopped you? And Friday's disappointment is Sunday's empty tomb. Since when has impossible ever stopped you? This is the sound of a dry bones rattling. This is the praise make a dead man walk again. Open the grave, I'm coming out. I'm gonna live again. This is the sound of dry bones rattling. Pentecostal fire, stirring something new. You're not gonna run out of miracles anytime soon. Your resurrection power, it runs in my veins too. I believe there's another miracle here in this room. This is the sound of dry bones rattling. This is the praise make a dead man walk again. Open the grave, I'm coming out. I'm gonna live again. This is the sound of dry bones rattling. Are you serious? Ezekiel 38. Dear Lord, have mercy. I'm going to read to you from my new book what Chuck Missler said about this. To save and deliver and heal and restore anything that he wants to. Just ask the man who was thrown on the bones of Elisha if there's anything that he can do. Just ask the stone that was rolled at the tomb in the garden what happens when God says to move. I feel him moving it now. I feel him doing it now. I feel him doing bones are the whole house of Israel. Prophesy and say to them, thus saith the Lord God, behold, my people, I will open your graves and cause you to come up from your graves and bring you into the land of Israel. Then you shall know that I am the Lord, and I will put my spirit in you, and I will place you in your own land, and you shall live. I will place you in your own land. You shall live, 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 live. Are you serious? Ezekiel 37, the dry bones. Prophecy has come to pass. Dry bones live. 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 This is your moment. You own it. Incredible, guys. Incredible, 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 incredible. Let me just read just from the new book, Revelation 9:11. I have the only copy right now. They're releasing all of them on March 26th. But I want to read to you a little bit of a conversation, of course, with the late Chuck Missler that's in the book. Subtitle, Will Russia Nuke America? When this war begins, Russia may destroy the United States through a nuclear attack. The late Chuck Missler once told me. A third party, Missler said, is involved. A party that is not Gog. It is not in Israel. A hailstone of fire will fall upon Gog and upon those who dwell securely in the coastlines. Ezekiel 39, verse 6. Who are they? Missler said. We don't know. It's another party. One of the speculations is that it might be an occasion for an overdue judgment on the United States. That we start saber rattling and we get hit by a bystander nation. That gets to a whole other subject in terms of why the United States is ripe for judgment. Clearly, if you stand back and try to look at the United States as God would see it, we're dealing with a situation where we outlaw his word in our schools. We will not allow his name to be used in public places. We do everything we can think of to insult him. It's astonishing to see it as it would look from a God-fearing point of view. And so it's a very reasonable interrogation. Are we overdue for judgment? I would certainly think so. This was just the words of Chuck Missler, and there's a whole lot more in there, of course, obviously. But we're in the end times now, and we're starting to see some of the very things that the Bible said would come to pass. The fog of war and the situations that's developing right now. And the X over the United States and the fact that it's going there as this one crosses, it crosses 7 cities. 6 of them are the cities, the name of the towns are Nineveh, and one is Jonah, Texas. And as it crosses, it goes over 7 of them. Now, when the first solar flare went across America 7 years ago, it went over 7 cities called Salem or Jerusalem. This one goes over 7 cities, Nineveh, and 6 of them says Nineveh, and 1 is the town of Jonah. Well, God sent a warning to Nineveh by the prophet Jonah that Nineveh better repent, basically, because in 40 days, God said, I'm going to destroy the city. But the people did repent, and God spared the city. Will America heed the warning? Will America turn back to God? Don't miss tonight's live broadcast. Do not miss it tonight, 9 p.m. Eastern, with Mike from around the world. And all these things that are happening right now, the southern border, the two different presidents visiting at the same time, the massacre in Gaza, Putin threatening to drop nukes on France and Europe, Macron suggesting that nations should pull together, European nations, and go fight the Russians in Ukraine. And then he later said, I didn't mean that. That was a mistake. I didn't mean to say that. But I'd already reported the day before that there was 3 nations talking about it. One in particular was Slovakia's prime minister, that there shouldn't be just a unilateral approach, but a bilateral. In other words, other nations coming together. And the very next day, Macron says it from the pulpit or from the podium. And then he backed water after that. But Putin, today, Putin just gave a speech in which he threatened nukes. Russia-Ukraine war, Putin warns of a real nuclear war risk because of what Macron said. So, look, we've got everything you can imagine taking place now. We're in the last days. Have you given your life to Jesus Christ? And Doug Hagman, I interviewed him yesterday, I think it was, or the day before. He spent 30 days in West Palm Beach, Florida, right there at Mar-a-Lago. He went around and talked to all kinds of people, including attorneys of Donald Trump, insiders, gardeners, people out, maintenance people. He's 30 days, and he shares information on an interview I did with him, a 45-minute interview. It's only exclusively at Patreon because of the content and what he disclosed. If you're a member of Patreon, many of you are, go and watch it. If you're not, go and sign up. It's real easy. You give what you want. Most people give $5 but a month, but some people give more, thank God, and some people give less, thank God. But do what you want to do what God's put in your heart, do what you're able to do, and go watch this. And not only that interview, but I have 415 exclusive videos on Patreon. You can go in, some incredible stuff. I'll be back with more current world events and how they relate to biblical prophecy as we're celebrating 14 years of online reporting and preaching and leading people to Jesus Christ. And we'll celebrate that tomorrow with a celebration offering. And I want to thank all of you in advance. I'll see you guys a little bit later. And don't forget tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern with Mike from around the world. It's going to be good. It's timely and it's necessary. Are you saved?